What's up, YouTube? Black Ass with another video presentation. It's Saturday and I'm just chilling. Went to the mall about 2 hours ago, right? And I'm parked in the Barnes & Noble's parking lot. And I was in that store for a good hour 50. And this is my second time going here, but the last time I was here, I checked out 2 books on Egypt and Africa, or like slavery and shit. And I wanted to look at like ancient history, slavery, any books made by any black authors, those types of books. And I happened to stumble upon a few, but I haven't really seen a lot. And this is what I've noticed about bookstores and subjects that involve like black people or African people, is that anytime you go in a bookstore or a store with there are books, I want you guys to try this experiment out. Or not even experiment, just go to your nearest bookstore, right? Look at the history section and see how many books they have on like black history or just ancient history, like the Egyptians and maybe even along the lines of the Israelites. Try seeing, or try to look and see if you could find any books on those types of people. And my second time coming back, it looked exactly the same, as if they didn't add more books on black history or ancient history, or just about black people in general. That's one thing I've noticed about these stores is when it comes to black history or ancient history, they don't really have any of that shit. And as a reader or somebody who just got back into reading, it's kind of like, where do you really go if you want to find books on these topics? Because if you ask me, I'm not reading any more books by any white authors, unless it's like psychology or philosophy, science fiction, science, any of those types of books, or even like how to build muscle, or any tips as far as like history specifically, or just like a memoir or something. I'd rather want it to be by a black author, somebody who I can relate to, somebody who most likely has had the same struggle and challenges that I've had. It wouldn't really make sense for me to read a book on like European history or the British, because that's a whole nother like kingdom, and that's a whole nother fucking colonization that I really don't give a fuck about. And I think since I'm a nigga, I have a right to say that I should read books on like black and African history. I mean, my parents are from Africa, so it would make sense that I would read these things only on history, and a few other topics or subtopics. But Yeah, man, like these, even libraries most of the time, and I've looked through a few libraries, you know, and I can't really find any books that talk about black history besides slavery and all that, you know. And I'll say this, slavery was not the first, end all be all. Because, nigga, you gotta think, black people have been alive for a long ass time. Since the fucking dawn of time. And you're telling me that slavery was the only history we had? Get the fuck out of here with that shit. The real black history or African history was what the fuck we were before that shit. I don't want to see niggas in fucking chains. I don't want to see niggas talking about how the white man enslaved us. I don't want to even talk about, the breeding and all that shit. Because we were more than that shit. Before the white man. Before colonization and shit. Because black people have been around for a long ass fucking time. These scientists or whatever the fuck, they're gonna say, oh, black people have been around for thousands and thousands of years. My nigga, it's millions of years, bro. Like, you gotta think the earth is over, and this is just an estimate. Nobody actually fucking knows the real number of years the earth has been alive. I say over 7 billion years old. The earth wasn't made fucking yesterday, my nigga. Like, and so with these books, as somebody that wants to read about some shit that actually fucking matters, you gotta understand the whole system, why they don't want niggas to read and shit. When it comes to black history, that was one of the things that they didn't want us to know about. How to fucking read, or how to read a book, or how to write, language and all that shit. Even still to this day, like I said in my previous video, when it comes to a smart, intelligent black man, white people can't really grasp the fact that you know how to read and write, articulate yourself. You don't speak like other black people do. You're smart. You move a different type of way. You can see past the bullshit. You can outthink them and outsmart them. They can't understand. And there was a reason why the master never wanted his slaves to read and write. There was a reason why when we did, we got lynched. We got hanged, my nigga. We got whipped and shit. Because the white man doesn't want us to surpass his intelligence. But in modern time, I would say, as speaking from like a 21st century standpoint, black people are smarter than white people, because we've gone through more trials and tribulations. Plus, we've been alive longer, And for them to say that we don't know how to do shit, or we don't know how to read and write, we don't know how to, finance and all that other shit, speak fluently, this was all, and again, going back to black history, this was all the master not wanting us to gain these skills and become smart, you know. It doesn't really, or let me say this, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that the white man's whole 500-year plan was to make niggas dumb. But, you know, through everything we've gone through as a people, we could see through like the bullshit right away. And it's like nowadays, you know, black people, we can't really be tricked, or some of us. But I did see, however, a lot of books on Queen Elizabeth. Like, I saw like over 30 books with just her face on the cover. And I think her son, William, or whatever the fuck his name is, because I don't keep up with the royal family, and I don't jack off to these niggas like all these other white people do. This nigga came out with the book, and coming back on my way here, I saw his face on the book, and remind you, I don't know how long his shit has been out, but there was a whole fucking pile of his shit still there. Like, I'm talking like 20 or 30 books, you know, on the table, set out, spread out. And I'm all like, either this is new or this has been here for a minute and nobody wants to check this shit out, you know. And maybe people are coming to the realization of what I've been saying, I think last year, about the royal family. Like, all that king and queen shit needs to die out. We're in the 21st fucking century, and Britain still has this royal fetish for this family that has been in the cahoots for a long time. You know. And you have white people in America that still jack off to these niggas, that still buy into the hype and still worship the ground that these motherfuckers walk on, bro. And it's quite sad, you know. It's quite sad. I can make a whole separate video of just what the British have done separately, you know, colonizing Africa and all of that shit. But I'm gonna go back to my crib and do some homework. I'm glad I went out today. The sun is out, and you know, I've been just staring at this shit for a good minute. And mind you, when I moved to where I'm at now, my room doesn't have a fucking window, so I haven't really seen the sun much unless I get something to eat. But other than that, I really don't see this shit, so, you know, it's like I'm lacking some type of vitamin C, you know, some damn energy and shit. So that's the real reason why I came out today. But as far as any tips for anybody that wants to start reading about black history, you know, I would say tread lightly, man. Some places, like I said, they don't have like books on black people, or black history, I should say. They have like maybe 4 or 5 books, you know, like at Barnes and Nobles, like this one. They only had like a few books on black history or ancient history, like the Egyptians and all that shit. They don't have a vast majority of this shit because, you know, this is America, and all they care about is the queen that they jack off to, and fucking anything white, really. Anything that pertains to white people is here, you know. It's here. But As far as niggas, you kind of have to dig a little deeper. But I would say try online. Try a few other stores and shit. And, you know, keep looking, man. But I'm out. Peace.